The average new YouTube channel takes over 18 months to reach its first 1,000 subscribers. But my video editor Greg went from 0 to 10,000 subscribers and over $20,000 in sales in just over 4 weeks. So in this video, I'm going to show you how he did it and invite him on the channel to fill in some of the gaps too. Together, we're going to break down how to launch a business's channel from scratch. I'm going to show you some of the tricks he used to earn more faster. And at the end, I'm going to walk him through his options of how he could get to $50,000 a month over the next 18 months if he so pleases. All right, Greg, so let's just start by showing these lovely people how you blew up so fast. And to do that, we got to show them how YouTube promotes brand new channels, because most new people completely mess this up and you played the algorithm to your own advantage. And it all starts with something we call micro testing. What you want to understand is when you're a new channel, it works the same as when you're an experienced channel in that you put a video out and YouTube's going to test it to people and then it wants to see how highly it scores in terms of viewer satisfaction. So all of these things you can see on screen, watch time, click-through rate, session time, all these things, they build up your video's score. And if it scores highly, it will then push it to more people. So you can see on this little graphic here, right? There's 3 audiences. 2 of them, it scores rubbish. 1 audience it takes, and it scores a 58 out of 100, which is a metric I've made up. So it pushes it to more people like them. But then what it does is, it starts to look at what are the channels those people are now watching to find patterns, to try and understand, where else could this video go? So let's say, for example, you make a video that's on productivity for some reason. It gets tested with 1 audience, it takes. YouTube then sees they're watching Ali Abdaal, Justin Sung, Rian Doris, productivity, and it sees they're watching in USA and Canada and the UK, and they like videos over 20 minutes long. It's starting to build an understanding of when you release your next video, who it could test it with first. So basically what happens is you upload a new video, YouTube checks who has historically engaged with your past videos. It will then show your new video to people in that first wave of impressions, and their satisfaction decides whether or not YouTube expands the testing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
All right, so the reason why new channels don't get any new views, whereas you did, isn't because they're being punished. It just doesn't have any idea where to even push your videos. And the problem that most people come up against is they listen to the really awful advice of just hit record, throw up content, talk about whatever you like, just get making videos. But as a result, that really confuses YouTube and your potential viewers. So for example, if you made a video on investing, so at the top here, and let's say it did take with a particular type of audience, so you get 600 views. They then look, what else is that viewer watching? Oh, they're watching Mark Tilbury, and they're over the age of 40, and they're like investing. Then your next video goes out, and it's morning routine with a typo, right? And that takes with an audience type, and they're like 30, and they're interested in productivity. And then your next one takes with a how to grow a channel audience, because you make a video about how I grew my channel to 500 subs. You end up with all these mixed audiences. So the reality is, if you released an investing video, and you release the next one on morning routine, YouTube's first initial tests are going to be like, those people don't care, and the channel's going to die. So this is the mistake you see all of the time in new channels where they're like, oh, I'm not getting pushed. Whereas your channel was so simple. You picked one topic, editing in DaVinci Resolve, then you made every video about it, and you posted 4 videos on your channel straight away. So we can see your first video. What happened in the first week?
Not much, really. It probably wasn't until I put in my next video about 2 or 3 weeks after these initial 4 videos, that's when it started really kicking off.
And that's because that next video, when you posted it, because YouTube had started to establish, who your audience was, when you put that video out, it had an initial test audience, and the viewer satisfaction score with that test audience meant that it rapidly blew up. And we'll come back to that video in a second, because it got 100,000 views in 7 days, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing about this is, nothing that I've just showed you works unless you score a high satisfaction. So the question is, Greg, how did you score so high and blow up? So what we're going to do is, I'm going to break down the foundational reason that your channel grew so quick. And it wasn't the topics, it wasn't the titles, it wasn't the thumbnails. It was your backstory. So let me explain how this works. There's 3 things you need to do to grow a YouTube channel to get traction. And you nailed all 3 of them perfectly. The first one is by showing off credibility. So I'm going to play a quick clip of how Greg instantly raises credibility, and then I'll break down what he did.
The biggest problem video editors have is speed. Editing just takes ages, and after 10 years of being a professional video editor for YouTubers and businesses, I've picked up lots of different ways to speed up my editing, but none of them compare to the #1 editing secret that professional video editors barely ever talk about. So in this video, I'm going to reveal what this secret is, how I use it to speed up my editing, and why you should use it too if you want to spend less time on the technical side of things and more time focusing on your edit. And keep watching to the end to find out how I took this even further, which has allowed me to edit videos that used to take me a whole day, now in just under 2 hours.
All right. So the first thing Greg does to make himself incredibly credible was share his backstory of how he's a pro editor. He said he's been editing for years, and then he shows his own skill with his own editing ability. And then he just doesn't over-explain anything. And that is the sign of an expert. When people over-explain, it's usually because they don't truly understand it for themselves, so they waffle, and then that, as a result, hurts their own credibility. The next thing is differentiation. So using Greg's backstory, Greg, let's just break down your backstory. So when I met Greg, how long ago was this? About 10, 12 years ago?
2018, I think.
So I had a production company at the time, and Greg applied to work for us, but we had this problem where this awful business model where we were about cheap video and volume. And what that meant was we would sell like 20 videos and get them all filmed in a day, then we'd turn them around fast. And that meant Greg had to work out how to edit as fast as he could so that our business actually worked. So the problem was, when you came in, Greg, how long do you think it took you to edit your first video?
It's probably like 2 days or something.
Yeah. And how long do you think it would take you to edit that same video now?
For about 2 hours.
Yeah. And that is the action, right, that Greg then figured out. So Greg got very good at building systems through repetition and practice that knocked days off of his edit. And the outcome was, this grew our business. He now helps me on this channel, which is also growing my business, but he's also now helping other people edit faster too. So Greg's backstory, the thing that differentiates him, is that he's very good at editing fast and building workflows and systems that speed up editing, which makes him unique. Nobody else has that story. So when you bring that into your own content, you instantly stand out. And you can have unique intros, you can have unique ideas, you can have unique solutions that the other DaVinci Resolve channels are probably not going to talk about. And then we move on to the third part of this, and nothing works without this, and Greg flippin' nailed it. It's called communication. So communication is basically the art of mastering how to get your point across. And it's all the YouTube stuff. So it's positioning, titles, thumbnails, hooks, intros, storytelling, frameworks, brevity, presenting, editing. If you're not good at that and communicating your backstory and your ideas and how to solve problems, this doesn't work. So Greg, what 3 things do you think you did to get good at YouTube so fast?
Well, #1 would be obviously watching and editing your videos and just learning all that side of things. I think obviously being an editor, so I know how to make a video kind of look good and flow and everything. The fact that I'm making videos on things that other people aren't. So like these workflows and these systems that I've built up over the years, obviously no one else is talking about those because they haven't got those same systems. And I've obviously proven how they work, and I've also given them out for free, some of these systems. And I'm getting feedback already from people saying, wow, this has, changed my editing completely and just sped up everything for me.
And it's as simple as that. YouTube has rewarded you because it's high quality content.
Yeah.
Let's bring on to the elephant in the room. So people are probably going to notice there's a video about me on there, and they're going to go, oh, you only got traction because you edit for Ed and he's got 500,000 subscribers. Not on this channel, the rest are on my other channel. But one thing I want to say is pretty much everyone has the ability to do that. It's called social hacking. So one of the things when you're a small channel that you should often be thinking about is how can I harness someone else's personal brand or their following to make content about them that then brings those people to my channel so that YouTube can then start to understand the kind of people my channel's for. So all Greg did really was just say how he edited for me. His next video got 120,000 views, which also proves it has nothing to do with my face, because 120,000 views in 9 days is an insane amount of views to get. So Greg, how did you come up with the idea for that video?
Through you. You told me to do it. I was going to do a completely different video to do with how to put text on screen. And you were like, don't do that. Make something about AI. Put best and new AI updates in the title and do that. And that's exactly what I did, and it worked.
I forgot about that. The reason that works is new is a power word, best, and AI. These are three words that are consistently doing well on YouTube. All right, so Greg, that's the foundations of how you got off to a first start. You made the same content, so you didn't confuse YouTube, and that you kept bringing people back, and then you harnessed your backstory and credibility, and then you gave a ton of free value. How did we turn this into, was it $12,000 in 3 weeks?
Yeah, so it's now 4 weeks. Is it 4 weeks? It's now 4 weeks, and it's now £16,000.
£16,000? That's nearly $20,000.
Yeah.
Wow, in a month.
Honestly, not in my wildest dreams would I have thought this would have happened.
All right, so let's look at how you did it. Well, firstly, he took his backstory and he turned it into a business. So let's go back to his backstory. His problem was he had to edit faster to save our business. He then built systems to edit in 2 hours, not 2 days. And as an outcome, it grew my business, made him a better editor, and now he helps other people do the same thing. So what Greg now does is he sells part of the solution that he developed over the years to solve the problem. And everyone has the same problem with editing. It takes too long. So let's have a look at Greg's presets. What Greg has done here, actually, Greg, why don't you explain? How did you build these presets?
When I started using DaVinci Resolve, there wasn't really many presets out there because it was, people were only kind of starting to move over to the program. So there was just tons of stuff that I wish I could do that I just couldn't, and it would just take ages. So even just a simple animation of bringing something into screen and out of screen again would just take ages of moving keyframes and all that kind of stuff. So I just built all these time-saving things that just sped up my editing like crazy.
You just turned your entire backstory into a business. It can actually be that simple. So the other thing I will point out is you made the product very good. How long did it take you to make that product, Greg?
About 2 years.
Yeah, okay.
It took a while.
So it took you far too long, but there is one thing you've done very well here, which most people in the online space don't do, is you actually tried to make something as good as you possibly could, and you put a lot of care and attention into it. Then I would say the next thing that really set you apart was you gave it to some people, they used it for free, and then they gave you testimonials, which you could then put on your site and in your marketing. The other thing that I love that you did, right, is 8,000 subs now after a month.
Yeah.
Your first video is an advert. Now, most people would never do this on YouTube, but it's a 2-minute 46 promo for your offer. And this was smart because firstly, YouTube pushed it for some reason. They just thought this was actually the video that kicked off your entire channel. But secondly, every video you make now funnels back to either your sales page or this video. All of the hundreds of thousands of views you got very quick have sent someone to something that promotes your offer. Most people are terrified of doing that. Was there anything else that you did in your content which you think helped generate more sales?
In most of my videos, I mention the presets. I'll kind of weave the presets into the video. The less you spend searching for things, the more time you can spend on making a better edit. So what kind of effects or titles do I use this for? Well, I've built a pack of presets that speed up mine and other editors' workflows massively. And now I can bring any of these presets to my timeline within a second. Another thing I've done as well is, luckily I've had people commenting under my videos saying that they brought my pack and they love it and they think it's amazing. So I've actually pinned their comments to the top of my comments so people can see that and see, okay, someone's actually genuinely likes it and has actually brought it. And I think that's also encouraged people to buy as well.
That's genius. I need to do that. That's really smart. Yeah, it's social proof. So again, like when we talk about credibility in the three things that make a channel stick out, it's the same with products: credibility, differentiating, communication. You've nailed all three in your offer there too. Now let's look at your future, Greg. All right, this is the scary bit. So to start off with, let's look at what you've done well. So firstly, you made the product. You didn't rush. So many people are like, oh, I need to make as much fun money as fast as I can online. And that just doesn't work, ever. Like if you're in a rush, you make short-term decisions and it doesn't work. You asked for help, which was a lot. We had plenty of conversations just talking about what to do with the business and so on. And yeah, you focused on quality. So these are the really good things. And I think you want to continue doing those things forever. But then the next thing we want to look at is like, what's your life goal? And then how do we build a business around it? And there's kind of three types of businesses that we can build. So I'm going to give you all three, and then you can say, I like the sound of whichever one. And we'll maybe go a bit deeper on that. Okay? Sound good?
Yep.
All right. So there's three kind of options. Option one is the lifestyle. So I'm going to say this is 50 to 75% passive. What that means is at 25% of your time might be spent doing stuff that removes some freedom from your life. So there's no such thing as a truly passive business. It doesn't really work because you've got to do something, right? So this option is going to enable you to earn well, and it's going to give you time freedom. It's going to give you location freedom. It's going to give you creative freedom. And I don't see why it wouldn't be possible to hit $50,000 a month with this method over the next 18 months. So the way you can do it is with different products. So you could create more plugins. And what's cool is, how many have you sold now?
It's about 270 odd.
Perfect. So you've got 270 hot buyers who will be waiting for your next thing, so long as they liked what you bought. What's your email at?
It's about, I think it's 1,100 roughly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so your emails, hot buyers, right? So your business is, these are the important numbers for when you want to launch something else and make income very quick. And then your channel is growing like crazy too. So you could build something else and add it on. You could build an on-demand course where you would help people go from where they are to some sort of specific result. You could then use affiliate for other software. You could do sponsorship. You could do one-to-one. So one-to-one might be just saying like, I'm going to open up 2 hours a week in my diary. If you want to book in a paid consulting call with any of your editing problems, I'll show you how to fix them. And yeah, I think 25 to 50K a month doing that without it becoming like a lifestyle creep business would be doable for sure. The next option is scaling. So this is not passive. This is what I did, Greg. So you will earn very well. You will lose a lot of time freedom. You will lose location freedom because you'll probably have to do calls at certain hours. So you can't be in Asia because most of your clients are going to be in America. So it won't work. You'll lose a bit of creative freedom, but you'll earn a huge amount of cash. And the way that you can do this is with cohorts. So a cohort would be, you might say, right, I'm going to take on 20 people for 8 weeks. And we're going to take you from spending 2 days on a video to editing the same thing in 2 hours, because each week I'm going to teach you a system to do that. So 4 times a year, you could launch this thing and make a lot of money very fast, but it would require you to be quite hands-on with people. The other option is an agency. I know you've already had people saying, can I pay you to edit for me? This would be, you don't do any of that. You just build a team who edits for you. Very time intensive, but again, financially can be massive. And then you could also do like high ticket consulting. So for example, this is kind of niche, but imagine a YouTuber's like, we're not working fast enough. I want you to come in and teach my team how to edit faster. You know, I'll hire you for a week to come out to America to spend the time with the team doing it, to build systems, right? So they're kind of like more businessy things. Option 3 is just to be a YouTuber. This is the most passive, right? So you do increase your product suite. You just keep doing plugins. You do sponsorships. You do affiliate. You do ad revenue. You could probably get into a position where you do 25K a month with that, no problem. But you'd be very tied to the algorithm, which can get a little bit stressful. Finzar kind of does that, actually. Finzar's got his very on-demand stuff, does a sponsorship, does affiliate, does ad revenue, and he makes like 1 video a month. I don't know what the heck he does with the rest of his time. But he's a chill guy. He's very happy. So out of those 3 options, what sounds the most appealing to you?
I'd probably say the lifestyle one, I reckon. Although maybe the scale one initially, maybe a couple of years. I quite like the thought of like making a course, but also not just giving them the course and letting them go, but actually working with them, like the cohort kind of thing.
Yeah.
Could do something like that. And then once I've kind of got all the feedback from everyone and I kind of know what people want and what their pain points are, I could then go more towards the lifestyle choice of making like a set course that I know is going to work with people and then go through that one maybe. I probably wouldn't do sponsorships on my video. I've already had loads of people offering sponsorships, but why would I advertise someone's chair when I want to advertise my presets, you know? It's exactly what you say as well.
That's a great answer. That's exactly how I would do it, I reckon. But I think my suggestion to you would be, first, we want to stabilize your income. So we've only had 1 month and we've hit $20,000 in month 1, right? So like, it's probably not going to do that every month. We don't know what's going to happen yet, but I would expect it to be a bit bumpy. So I reckon your first thing, you should stabilize the income. So you basically have 3 months in a row where you're like, this is a really healthy income. It looks like I'm going to maintain this. Keep building your email list. Then at some point, you're going to have to fire me as your only client because it just won't make any sense to keep working for me because it will just hold you back. Then what I reckon I'd do if I was you is have a one-to-one calendar open. Don't give away too much of your time, maybe like 2 hours a week. Charge like $300 an hour, charge a lot, because you don't necessarily want to be doing loads of these. But what we want to see is what kind of problems come to you, and also the kind of people that want to spend. And I think that will help you determine what your next move is too, in terms of a cohort. Because if you work with a few people and you're like, everyone's got the same problem, we know what problem to solve in your higher ticket offer. And next thing I think you should be doing is thinking like what can you do to protect against AI? We don't know what's going to happen with AI, right? And I don't think editors are going to get replaced, but the high ticket thing is going to help you move away from stuff that just AI can do. So by that, I mean like a cohort. And really just find something that you can charge more for, but don't rush. So you've already gone a year in a month. So we don't need to rush any of this, right? But I think the name of the game should be, let's see out the next few months. You could start planning something for the new year now if you wanted, because January is always a good time to sell. Or you just say, like, I'll plan that in Jan and not really think about it too much more. But I think my main wish for you is longevity. So just making sure that you can work at a pace that doesn't kill you. And I think doing the thing that you think you can do for 10 years. Because I know if you do this for 10 years, in 10 years' time, you probably won't have to work again. So it's like, what can I do for 10 years so that we don't want you to stop after 3? We need you to get to that point because the lifestyle it will build you will be insane. What do you think, Greg?
That would be incredible. I mean, it's crazy to me, just all of this. I never kind of thought I'd be in that position where I could be making that kind of money.
Well done, Greg.
Thank you. I couldn't have done this without you, honestly.
You want to say like and subscribe to my channel, Greg? Where can we find you, Greg?
You can find me at Greg Edits Video.
Nice one. And then buy Greg's presets, otherwise I won't make videos anymore. Or you can watch this video next where I'm going to break down another business's channel and show them how to fix all of the mistakes they're making with their script that you probably are too.